us, the WNBA does not appreciate fans, don't want us there. We have been thrown out of games for a multitude of ridiculous things. We have watched these players complain and trash us all. They called half of us racist. They've called all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Now, without Caitlin Clark, the viewership has been cut in half by 50%. 50% for the playoffs. For the playoffs, y'all. And they
Allisha Gray stood frozen on the hardwood, her arm outstretched, finger locked on a cluster of Indiana Fever fans sitting just a few rows back. It wasn't the usual trash talk, not the kind of playful banter that athletes toss around when emotions run high. This was sharp, pointed, almost accusatory. The crowd didn't quite understand what was happening at first. Some thought she was joking. Others thought maybe it was part of the heat of the moment intensity that comes with playoff basketball. But then the shift happened. The energy inside the arena, that buzz of competition, excitement, and tension, suddenly twisted into something uncomfortable. Security rushed in, moving with urgency, while the group of stunned spectators looked at one another with wide-eyed disbelief. Nobody was yelling. Nobody was standing up or creating chaos. And yet, within seconds, the spotlight wasn't on the game anymore. It was on them. That's when the cameras cut away. Broadcasters stuttered. Commentators tried to fill the silence, but ended up making it worse because they didn't know what they were reacting to. Was this a threat? Was it heckling gone too far? Or was it something else entirely? Something exaggerated and blown out of proportion in real time? And here's the twist nobody saw coming. Instead of exposing the fans, instead of rallying her team, Gray had unknowingly lit the fuse on a moment that would backfire in spectacular fashion. What was meant to be control turned into chaos. What was meant to be power turned into weakness. And in the end, it was Indiana, not Atlanta, who walked away with the momentum. Because this wasn't just about a finger point. This was about a franchise being exposed, a fan base igniting in defiance, and a team proving that even without their superstar, they were more than ready to fight for history.
She got a fan kicked out last night against the Indiana Fever, only for the fan to speak their piece to the security. Security found out, oh, you didn't say anything at all, actually. Yeah, come back to your seat. Let me just wipe that seat off for you. Here, please, have a seat, ma'am. Allisha Gray played like absolute you-know-what last night and decided to take it out on
It began like nothing at all, just a passing glance. Gray caught sight of the Fever fans and locked onto them with laser focus. At first, nobody thought twice. This was playoff basketball, after all. Emotions run high, words are exchanged, and players often look to the stands for a little extra fuel. But then came the gesture. Not a casual look, not a playful smirk, a deliberate point, a call-out. And instantly, the temperature in the building shifted. The casual chuckles of nearby fans turned to whispers. The players on the floor glanced at each other in confusion. Something about the way Gray stood, her shoulders stiff, her expression tense. It didn't feel like banter anymore. Security wasted no time. They stepped in quickly, marching directly toward the section she had singled out. And the fans? They weren't shouting, weren't throwing things, weren't even standing. They just sat there, stunned, as if caught in a situation they hadn't even realized they were part of. The broadcasters didn't know what to say. The cameras avoided lingering on the confrontation, cutting away to generic crowd shots. Commentators tripped over their words, unsure whether to condemn, to downplay, or to ignore. And in that awkward silence, the seed of a dangerous narrative was planted. Because without clarity, people filled in the blanks. And the longer the confusion lingered, the more it felt like something serious had gone down. Fans at home began speculating. Social media started buzzing. And suddenly, a simple misunderstanding had the weight of a scandal. And that's where the real danger lay, not in what was said, but in what people thought might have been said.
This is nuts. By the way, security brought this couple back in and apologized to them. All right? They removed the couple because they do it to let the players calm down, because it's clear these players aren't professionals. Hey, that's what you owe us. You owe us at this point. Stop it. Stop it. So she's now fully
There's
been
anything
exposed.
I know, there's nothing like playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
The Atlanta Dream quickly spun the story. According to them, Gray was being disrespected by fans who had supposedly crossed a line. Media outlets parroted the claim, some suggesting serious comments had been made from the seats. But here's the problem. Nobody could agree on what was actually said. Some reports claimed it was nothing more than heckling. Others made it sound like something vile or even threatening. And the longer the story dragged out without clarity, the shakier it sounded. Because if it really was serious, wouldn't Atlanta have shut the door immediately with specifics? Wouldn't security have escorted those fans out of the building for good? Instead, the story kept changing, and cracks in the narrative began to show. That's when an eyewitness, a fan who was actually part of the group, revealed what was actually said. It wasn't profanity. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't even hostile. The exact words were, "You're good, Lex. She's not even trying anymore." That was it. A harmless comment directed at Lexi Hull, not even Gray. And in that instant, the whole situation flipped. Because this wasn't the story of unruly fans. It was the story of a star player cracking under playoff pressure. And if that wasn't bad enough for Atlanta, the next part was even worse.
And let's get this account of the situation. The guy in the black hat yelled to Lexi, who was running to guard Gray, and said, quote, "You're good, Lex. She's not even trying anymore." Gray lost her shit and said some very nasty words to the guy and the people next to him. Because he said she's not even trying anymore. She can't handle that kind of heckling. Are you kidding me? Quit sports today.
Minutes later, those same fans who had supposedly crossed the line were allowed right back to their seats. No permanent ejection, no punishment, no dramatic follow-up. And that told the real story. If it had truly been something serious, the league and arena staff never would have allowed them back in. The optics were disastrous. Instead of looking strong, Gray looked shaken. Instead of intimidating Indiana, it became fuel for the Fever's fire. And the crowd, far from being silenced, grew louder. Atlanta scrambled to find excuses. Indiana? They locked in. And in the chaos, one team's season started unraveling while the other's legacy began to take shape. Here's the part that really stung for Atlanta. Indiana was missing Caitlin Clark, their rookie phenom, their generational star. The player who had carried not just the Fever, but the entire league's spotlight all season long. Not only that, Sophie Cunningham wasn't available either. And yet, with their two biggest names sidelined, the Fever refused to back down. Every possession, every defensive stand, every shot became a statement. They weren't just playing for survival. They were playing to prove something much bigger. One team pointed fingers at fans. The other pointed to the scoreboard. And as the game wore on, it became clear who had the upper hand.
The guy did not say anything out of line whatsoever. They were let back in shortly after. When asked what happened, he said that they said it was protocol to remove the fan to allow the player to calm down. I mean, all these players ought to be playing in bozo outfits. Gray had a bad night, and there is no excuse for the things she said or the way she acted.
The turning point came in a single sequence that silenced all doubt. Aaliyah Boston fought her way inside for a tough post bucket. On the very next possession, Victoria Saxton tipped a pass loose. J.C. Petty scooped it up, and suddenly the Fever were running the break. Petty dished it out to Lexi Hull, who let it fly from deep as the buzzer blared. Swish. That sequence, 3 plays in under a minute, completely flipped the game on its head. The arena erupted, Indiana's bench jumped out of their seats, and Atlanta never recovered. The dagger had been delivered, and everyone in the building knew it. But here's the beauty of it. This wasn't just one player's moment. It was everybody. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 19 points, hitting clutch shots when Indiana needed them most. Aaliyah Boston continued her steady dominance inside, setting the tone in the paint. Natasha Howard played the role of defensive anchor, covering gaps and shutting down Atlanta's runs before they started. Lexi Hull, the very player caught up in that fan comment, turned the narrative completely on its head with her fearless energy. And rookie Michaela Timpson? She provided the kind of spark off the bench that most teams can only dream of. This was a collective statement. Indiana Fever basketball isn't a one-woman show.
Fever dub! Bow, bow, bow! Let's go! Fever! Go Fever!
Let's go, Fever! Fever in 3!
Let's go! Play out, baby! This is the reason! This is our season! Return up time! Indiana Fever! That time we on the map! Let's
The
go!
scoreboard told the real story. Atlanta finished with just 60 points, one of their lowest totals of the season. The Fever's defense was suffocating. Hands in passing lanes, bodies crashing the glass, every possession contested. They didn't just play defense. They strangled Atlanta's offense until there was nothing left. And that was the true message of the night. Without Clark, the Fever didn't crumble. They reinvented themselves. So let's be real. Allisha Gray's finger-pointing incident will be forgotten. The headlines will fade, the excuses will vanish, and that one awkward moment will just become a footnote in the box score.